Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm just going to be looking at steering components. So in some of my last videos I did the control arms on both sides, the lower control arms on the front. And so let me show you what I got today. So today I got basically the tie rods for both sides, the full assemblies. I got the idler arm bushing repair kit. And then I have a new drag link and the steering damper that goes with that too. And so, yeah, I need to take this in for an alignment anyways because I did the lower control arm. So today it'll be getting the rest of these components swapped out. And the only thing I'm concerned about is how bad is this idler arm bushing going to be? And so when I was looking at it, typically the hard part is once you get the car in the air and you get this bolt off, which can be pretty hard, the top of it, it's up here, there's a heat shield. I got to take the heat shield off, but then you have to have enough clearance to take the bolt out. Usually it'll smack right into something, and basically like the exhaust components or something. It looks like I have a straight shot though, so it could just be because this is the diesel. Usually on this side, you know, when the car came out, they would have a trap oxidizer, which is a lot bigger. They replaced all those with the factory recall. You still do have some exhaust here. You know, the turbo is up here. So, but you can barely see way down there. I think it's gonna come right out. So we'll see about that. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. The rest of the items are pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen the lug nuts, the lug bolts on both sides, get the car in the air, and yeah, I'll be doing this on jack stands. This is my setup. So I've basically got everything in the garage. Got my wife's car out on the side, and so this is something new. I just got the this kind of cool push cart from Harbor Freight. So that's great to have. It's got all my special tools in it. So I'll be using this today. I'll be using this other ball joint one. So I got a lot of good stuff in here. Got my spring compressor. I got the slide hammer for taking off the pre-chambers. This is a slide hammer for taking the timing guide pin out. Battery on there. This is my old control arms. I am going to refurbish those arms. So I ordered the Mercedes parts. So anyways, yeah, here's the actual parts, and then there's the book. So when you get to do the idler arm, it is going to be 46,520. So this goes over how to remove the entire arm, but basically what you want to do is take this bolt off. There's the nut on the bottom. You want to keep all your parts. This washer number 3 is not included in the rebuild kit, so you just need to reuse that. The cap is included, the bushing, that bushing's included. You just got to take your heat shield off. I'm letting it soak right now after I sprayed the bottom with some PB Blaster. I figured I definitely do have enough room to get this bolt out, no problem. I looked at a couple tricks just in case, but yeah, you can see there it's just kind of soaking. But now that I have the car in the air, let's see if I can show this. I'll still have to take the heat shield off, but basically between here and here, look at that. I have a lot of room to work with. I could take a bolt out all the way up to the exhaust clamp on here. So, and when you take the bushing out with it, I think you get a little bit more give. You know, you can take it out at an angle, and luckily this is pretty easy for my car, it looks like. For some of the other cars, people will cut the bolt and Yeah, or you know, there's another one you can do here too, where you could lift the engine and just gently lift it. You could undo the motor mount right here. You can undo the top of the motor mount, lift your engine a little bit, and that'll give you a little bit more clearance. But I shouldn't need to do any of that. So pretty much, I should be able to just take this heat shield off. I think it's 10 millimeter. And then I am gonna have to run to Harbor Freight, which is okay, I love going there. I have a 24 millimeter socket. I'll try my impact, but I don't think that's enough. But also you need to counter hold it. I need to get a combo wrench. So I don't have a 24 millimeter combo wrench for holding the nut on the top. And so, yeah, gonna get ready to do that. This looks like it'll be a pretty easy job. The other parts, you can already see there's the tie rod. I mean, instructions for that are pretty easy. Basically, you just undo the nut here, undo the nut that's on the idler arm, and then that comes off. And then when it comes off, I have my piece here. So I'll try to match it up as close as I can. And yeah, the drag link is basically the same thing. There's a nut on top, and then you know, use a separator to do it. I'm not going to use a pickle fork because I'm on jack stands. I try to limit anything I do where there's impact to the car. I just want to keep it super safe. I mean, I got a tire under there just in case, but I'm only working one wheel off at a time. So I'm sure it'll be fine, but I'm not going to sit there and pound this this joint when there's a perfectly good tool for it. So got a service wrench up here on top. I've already broke it loose with the impact, so that was a lot easier than I thought. So just going to counter hold it. Okay. So that came out pretty easy. So let's just try pushing this out. Let's see if I can get the bolt out without any craziness. And yep, look at that. So definitely important to share at this time that this is the 300D. So this is the OM603. You're not going to have that good of a time if you have the 500E or if you have the like M104 or an M103. It's definitely going to be a lot more challenging for you to get that bolt out of here. And so now at this point, I just need to get the bushings out. Look at this, it's falling out. I can just pull it up by hand. That's how easy it is. This thing's definitely worn out. Let's see if I can get the top out the same way. Okay, so I'll move the arm out of the way. Here's the washer that you have to keep, okay? And yeah, just turning it with my hands. There it is, there's the top one. So, yeah, the car's got over 400,000 miles on it. And might be difficult to see, but it's got the Mercedes part number. So I'm guessing this has never been changed. So yeah, that's a pretty easy one. I was concerned about having to take out the other pieces to give it more room, but I'm going to go ahead and just replace the rest of this assembly. I'll put some lubricant on the inside here and shove those bushings in. Yeah, so I'm not sure how easy this will be to see, but with just a little bit of rubber lubricant on there, this is just pushing in by hand. So now I'm probably going to put the old nut or the old bolt through here. Might try to just hammer this in. We'll see. I'll come back when I figure that out. I tried a couple things and it wasn't working. So what I did is I got the old bolt and the old cap, put them on, pushed it through, and I'm just not using I'm not having it go through the idler arm on the top. So let me kind of see if I can show that. So I'm just having it on top of the bolt, on top of the metal there. You can see the idler arm is kind of to the side. So yeah, that gives you enough room to get the bolt through. And then I can basically just kind of thread the nut at the end and then squeeze it tight. And that should do the trick. So maybe I'll get that washer from the bottom to make sure I don't screw up the bottom bushing as it gets pressed in. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is definitely ghetto, but what I did here, and you can see the setup, it's a little, it's not a little, it's very weird, is I put the old bolt through, put the cover on top of the old cover on, put the new bushings on, and I don't have a deep socket. That's what you would want to have for doing the bottom, because it's not going through the idler arm. It's this bolt's too long and you can't reach it anymore. And you might be able to see I stripped a little bit off the edge there. So I got that off, and basically I just needed anything that could work as a spacer. So I just put a wrench in here, and then put the washer below it and put it on, and that tightened up and snapped the bushings right into place. So I'm good. What I'm going to do is take this old one off, throw the old one out. Now the new bushings are in, I can get the new pieces. I'll go ahead and just put those on. It's very easy. So that part will be done in just a second. For reinstall, you just got to make sure you have the right order of the things that you're going through. So basically you have the bolt, go through the idler arm first. Then you're going to have the small washer that you reuse, so put that on next. And then after that, you have the cap. And that goes on top, so go ahead and put that on. And get this much through. So just going to work on that. Okay. Okay, got it through. And then the last part is you put the washer that came with it on the bottom, and then you put your new nut on the bottom if you don't drop it all over the place. So here we go. Perfect. And now I'm just going to counter hold the top and impact that in place. All right, I'm going to call that good. Now, when you go to actually torque this down, I believe it's 150 Newton meters. That's one you're going to want to use your long wrench for, an actual torque wrench. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like this for right now and get on to some of the other things. So probably next, I'm going to probably take off the steering damper and look at doing the drag link. And then since I have this passenger wheel off, I'll probably do that tie rod first. And then I'll finish off with the driver's side. All right, I'm gonna start off on this side with the, this is the passenger side. That should be the side with the bump on it. I'm gonna go ahead and buzz this off. I got a 17 counter holding it, 17 that I'll put on an impact. The drag link's in the way, no problem. Just kind of leave that for right now. And then this side is going to be the same thing. it's just going through there though. There's no counter. So let's go ahead and see if we can buzz that off. Perfect. So if I wanted to, I could go turn the steering wheel off, but to the right or whatever, just to get this nut through. Let's see if I can just wiggle it out. But I'm taking the drag link out anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that next. So here's on top of the drag link. I got the 5mm secured in the middle of it, and I'm just kind of working this stubby and rotating it around. And if I need to counter, then no problem. I'll hold the 5mm in the middle. So just going to keep doing this and get this thing off. So that small tie rod puller was definitely not working. It was too hard to line up. So I got a bigger one on here, and let's give this a go. Okay. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, basically just going to go ahead and do that on the other side too. Don't need to film it. Okay, just taking a quick break. I got the other side of that drag link off. I just wanted to show the parts that we have so far. So this is the steering damper, and this is the one I removed. This is definitely not good that you can do it that easy. So just to show you on camera what a new one looks like. Yeah, here's a new one. Like, I can't pull it out that fast, first of all, but then even when you're pushing and pulling hard, it's not going to move like that. So that's awesome. Then there's the drag link, and I mean, it's just a metal bar. Basically, it connects your pitman arm to your idler arm. So when you turn, it's going to move the other wheel too. Yeah, the boot definitely was leaking a lot, and it's pretty flattened out, and it's pretty rock hard on both sides. And it's definitely time to replace. The new one looks great. The boot is nice and soft, and it comes with the new locking nuts. These are has like some nylon in there that I think crunches as you torque it up, and then if you untighten it, then you need to get a new one. So anyways, I'll get this in here, and after that's installed, then I'll do the tie rods last. So I haven't touched the tie rods at all. I don't want to mess the steering up. I want to keep everything as close as I can, so I didn't have to, take the whole idler arm off and mark it and everything like that. Like I just left it like it is. I was able to do that. Lucky with the 300D, it's very easy. And then with the tie rods, I will have to match up the size of them with the new ones. So the new ones here, I'll have to basically use the screw here to tighten it, loosen it up, get it to the right size, and then match the number of threads, turns on the tie rod ends, basically. So we'll get to that soon, but probably about halfway done. All right, so I'm doing the passenger side tie rod first. I've got the drag link screwed in there. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to get the nut on there at 35 Newton meters. I can't really get my torque wrench in there, and I will be taking this in for alignment. So I got it through the nut pretty good, and then I basically gave it as hard as I could, so that's probably more than 35 Newton meters, but that's fine. I'm gonna call that good. I got one side of the tie rod off there, and then I'm gonna go for this side right now. I'll just show this on camera. Basically, these are 17 millimeters, and should come off like that, piece of cake. So I got those, and yeah, now I'm gonna try the smaller tie rod puller first. We'll see if that works, and then yeah, we'll get this guy off and size it up. Yeah, and here I think you can get a better sense for what is happening when you work the tool. So I tried the small one, and it's just really hard to get this screw to line up. So you slip this onto the bottom. It just this one fits and it works. So I'm just going to use it. It's going to bust it out of there, no problem. But basically, you thread this screw in, the bolt in. As you're doing that, it's going to push this down. So it's going to pop it right out of that joint, and then right underneath it, it's held in place. So yeah, this will pop this tie rod out, no problem. We'll see if I'm able to put it on the other side. A lot of times just clearance is a problem. All right, so I got my tie rod out on that side. The inner, what I did is I turned the car on, so like the steering lock's not going, and I turned it all the way to the left. Or no, all the way to the right. Well, I turned it all the way one of the ways. And basically with doing that, I'm able to squeeze this tool in. And so, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this off, and then that's that tie rod. Then we'll have to turn it back until it gets to the point where I can slip it back on over here. Okay, that did it. So I got it out. So I'll get out the other one here in a second and line it up, but just to show you, I tried taking it off with this one, and there are definitely better versions of this. And you can see I've flattened it out from taking apart a lot of cars. That's where I got this. When I dismantled cars, I would just use this to pop the tie rods. Yeah, see, it was like I think the middle wouldn't go in to where that hex key goes, and so it just kind of started flattening, and then it would slip. So anyways, with the steering turned all the way to one side, I was able to pop that other side loose. So this is the inner, that's the outer. I'm gonna go ahead and just start lining it up. Here you can see the threading. That's the part that's gonna be important. Same over here. Basically, I'm gonna line it up, count the number of threads, and then tighten up the appropriate parts. So that's the next step. Then I'll be able to put it back in, tighten up the bolts that come with it, so you can see they're on there already. And then that side's done. Then I just have to do the other side. So overall, this is a pretty easy job for a do-it-yourself, like at least on the W124 or at least on the 300D. Like that steering idler arm bushing, that was definitely crazy easy on this car. So yeah, it's fun to do this just as a hobby. I'm not sure I'm cut out to do this for a full-time job, but this car is coming together, definitely. So here's the passenger side, and side by side, roughly the same length. Yeah, it's just kind of hard to tell on camera, but basically I just counted the number of threads, made sure it's consistent. I think this one, even though it's the same number, I think they start closer over here, so it's probably off. I'll loosen it up, and I tightened this up for now. This side I just kind of hand tighten. So once I get it on the car, I'll kind of do the fine tuning on that. But this is pretty good to start. So let's see. Yeah, this side goes on the inner, that side goes on the outer. I'll go ahead and get this on and show that part next. Okay, so I got the inner on there pretty good. Got the outer on there. And then tightened up the adjustment. Right here it's 13 millimeter, and you counter hold it. And then here it's 20 2 millimeters on the outer tie rod. So yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing on the driver's side. And then the last thing I have to do, you can see there's just like an empty space here, is I have to put the steering damper, the new one, on there. So I'm saving that for last just because it was kind of blocking the way here where this inner tie rod is for the passenger side. So over on the driver's side, I popped the outer one, no problem, with my big tool. The big ass tool fit in here really good from basically with the wheel straight. I was able to just kind of sneak it through above the lower control arm, and it goes right in there, right there. So this will be off in a second, and then I'll just line up this one, and then we have the steering damper. So here's the driver's side taken off. Got it about as best as I can get it. And yeah, when you look at it, this has definitely had a hard time. This is definitely an original part. So at least the assembly is original. But yeah, it looks like these, you know, they're green color. So the other one that I had definitely had been replaced before. And I think the drag link had been replaced before too, even though the ball joints on that were not very good either. Yeah, so it looks like this might be the only original. The idler arm bushings were definitely original too. Those almost just fell out. So yeah, this is a great job to do. All right, so at the last part here, I am getting the steering damper on. So I've got that basically, yeah, secured here with the nut on the bottom, bolt coming through from the top. I just had to turn the steering wheel a little bit to get clearance to go through there. And then, yeah, the side that attaches to the drag link. There we go, over there. So, yeah, this should be it. Then I can put the wheels on and it's all done. I just need to tighten this up. The last part I had to do was just putting the heat shield back on for the idler arm bushing assembly. And so it is a little tricky. There's kind of like the C-hook that you put in there. And what you could do is wrap it around, and then there's going to be a part that pokes through here. Let me see if I can kind of show that. So above where the screw goes, there's a little tab. You might be able to see it just poking through. It's really tough to see, but it's just above the bolt. And once that goes through the heat shield, then you can take this part over here, the other part of that assembly, turn it until that little hole goes into that little divot goes into the hole on right below the idler arm. So yeah, now this is not going anywhere. And then once you get it like that, then you can tighten it. All right, so I'm all done for today. Got all that stuff done. Got basically the idler arm bushings, got the drag link, the both tie rods, and everything's tightened up. I took the car for a spin and did good. So it's a little bit to the right. You know, this is my first time really doing that kind of stuff. So I've taken a lot of parts off of cars, but I haven't really put them on a car to try to get it working. So it makes sense with the steps and everything. So hope this is useful. You can see some of the steps. That heat shield one was definitely a little trick that I had to figure out how to get it on. And the next step I'm going to do is take this to Mercedes of Chandler. And they have some special tools like the bolts that go into, there's like these plates that go into those holes. And that way they can kind of aim the wheel once they loosen the hardware. And they can do a lot more than just a traditional machine. And they do a good price too. So any dealership, like a Mercedes dealership, is the place to go for your Mercedes. When you want to do an alignment, it'll probably be about $250. And they'll do a great job. And I'll see if I can go and actually go with the tech. It'd be kind of cool to show some of that stuff, all the different values. And I'm kind of curious, you know, how good I did too. I didn't try very hard to get it right, but yeah, that's it for this video. So thanks a lot for watching, and until the next time.